If you're not looking to have a bunch of guests over, if your mantra is a little bit more of like a good neighbor, stay over there, looking for something half-ton towable, you're going to like what you see. Hey everybody, Josh RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here at Grand Design today, where they pulled up a whole bunch of things for us. Today, we're going to get a look at this new 22RBX. This is a member of the Transcend Xplor series. This is the small, simplest, most basicest kind of thing that they make, essentially, in the tandem axle Grand Design lineup. So it won't have all the widgets and whiz-bangs of an Imagine or a Reflection, but it also won't have the price tag of one of those. The thing is, the stuff that really matters, you're gonna find is here. They've done some great things and a couple cool surprises. So this thing comes in like 26'10", tip to tail total length. So the weights and measures kind of come in where many half-tons should find this pretty comfortably within their limits. There are some situational dependencies there, but some serious half-ton towing potential. Decent awning space on this one. A little mini camp kitchenette in the back is kind of one of those nice little, oh hey, I didn't for the budget kind of necessarily expect that, but I'll take it sort of things. As is the heated underbelly, which is kind of something that you don't normally associate with a more budget kind of focus. The other thing that really jumped out at me here, the little thoughtful details, like the extended sofa. So it's a couple's rig, yeah, and you know, if you're stuck inside on a rainy day weekend, sometimes you need a little space. So they gave us an extended 3-seat sofa, even though it's really made for 2 people. What's cool about that is you have the folding armrest for population control, or you can kick it up and like sling your legs across your partner's lap, enjoy I don't know your life, but that's something you can lounge is what I'm getting at. The other thing is, like, let's say it is mostly just the 2 of you, but sometimes you have a guest. One person can still lay down across that long sofa. You don't necessarily need a hide-a-bed. Also has extended kitchen counter space, although cut back a little bit, which I don't necessarily love, but 60 by 80 true queen bed, nice bathroom, easy towing size. It has ups, it has downs, it has in-betweens. I'm gonna do my best to hit on all those for you, and if you appreciate the candid look, hit that subscribe button. Let's get in there. Now, obviously, one of the most important things I know people look for when shopping for an RV is the question, can I watch TV from the toilet? Well, if you add a TV and you mount a swing arm bracket and you leave the door wide open like my Uncle Gary does at the Walmarts, well, yes, this one is very toilet TV certified. Now, I like to try to share good and bad in my videos. I want to volunteer something real quick right here. When we close this big, deep rack and pinion super slide, you're going to lose a bedroom. You're not going to be able to access that bedroom. Just not going to happen. So if that's a deal breaker for you, I respect it. That's why I went out of my way to point it out. I want you to know that now before we spend 15, 20, 30 minutes doing this. But I will give you a look at that with the slide closed and road mode. Now, I'm right up close and personal on this. I don't like to use fisheye wide-angle lensing. I do want to show you here, though, what I think is really awesome about this sofa. First of all, some people really like that separation. And some people really like 2 fists in their drinks. And this will allow you to do both. Now, it actually is a power theater recliner. Only the N2 seats are theater recliners. Now, that requires 110 shore power. I'm currently on 12-volt battery power, so I can't demonstrate that for you. There are also a couple USB plugs right here on the inside, but those are in what I call the thigh buster location, because if you have a USB plugged into it and you sit back like this, there's nowhere for it to go. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But what I like about this is the fact that it gives you that choice. Now, whether you've got, let's say, a little grandbaby guest, or you've got a dog. Like, man, I've got a 18, 20-pound lap dog who can occupy 2/3 of a residential king bed, I swear. So having sometimes that extra space is great. Or, as I mentioned before, I have a no shoes on the furniture policy, by the way. Sometimes you just kind of want to, I don't know, chill out, watch TV, relax a little bit. Like, you need to move your position a little bit. Or, one of the nice things here, it's long enough that even at my size, I could take a pretty decent daytime nap here. Now, if I was in a serious pinch and I cheesed my wife off, I could probably sleep for a night on one of these. I'm not saying I would like to do that. Thankfully, I have a wife who tolerates so much from me. Now, I would like to note that basically all the windows you see, with the exception of the window in the entry door, they are all breeze through, which is really nice for some cross breeze airflow. I also appreciate it a lot. The kind of contrast between the lighter furniture and the darker wood tones, it just helps open up the space. You won't find floor vents, you won't find carpet, and that is a rack and pinion floor flush slide, which I think a lot of people really appreciate in these bigger units, bigger slides. Now, down below the fridge here, you have a bonus drawer. By default, it comes from the factory with these little plastic removable pet dishes. But I know a lot of people are like, dude, I ain't going to leave water in a wooden drawer. I don't know that I would either. So that's why I like to pull one of those out of there to kind of demonstrate. I do like the freezer style, or the slide open drawer style freezer when it's mounted down low like that. It's very kind of cool and residential. No pun intended with that. Working our way around, pocket screwed lumber core cabinets, hidden hinges, magnet holdbacks. None of that is exactly earth-shattering material, but it's, in the stick and tin classification, and this is basically Grand Design's entry-level unit. Not everything has that. Also, the little details. Did you notice the paper towel roll holder, the place for an integrated wastebasket right here? It's just those thoughtful little items that I've learned to appreciate. Now, you might have noticed this does not have a propane oven, and this is also a traditional microwave. So this RV does not have any variety of oven. It doesn't have propane or electric ovens. Now, that personally doesn't bother me at all. The way that I camp as a park pavement princess with shore power hookups, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But I know for some people, that's a major either point for consideration or deal breaker. So I want to make sure that I point those little factors out and you know what you're getting into before you spend this kind of money. Now, overall, I think the storage in here is great. You might have noticed you don't have a dedicated pantry, but you do have a lot of storage space. And being a stick and tin sidewall trailer, they can put those power outlets exactly where you want them, where laminated trailers kind of struggle. Now, I think to make the RV look and feel more open, they did do a cutaway on that kitchen counter. I kind of wish they had not done that and really maximized the counter space, but I don't think the counter space is bad. I think it just could have been better. Now, you might have noticed we don't have the maximized campsite window coverage that some other similar models might have from other builders. That is probably a symptom of the price point of the RV. They're just not overdoing it. I don't believe this is available with 50 amp or second air capability. Now, because you have that sliding privacy door straight across from the bed, they couldn't put TV hookups across the bed. They had to put them up here kind of kitty corner, which not exactly the easiest for viewing, but I also don't know that a lot of people buying a camper like this are purchasing it with the idea of sitting in their bedroom watching TV all night. Now, you might notice how it is an open pocket above the bed. I do appreciate that they at least put that, full length kind of just extra board, basically an extra rail, to keep that stuff in check, to keep it from jumping around like the House of Pain. Now, over here, this side is a dresser. The other side is actually hanging wardrobe space. I'll show you that in just a second when we back up here. I do like those little headboard power pockets, though. And the mattress, because it sits higher than your side stand, kind of organically creates a keep stuff under control, don't let it get away from you, organized bucket sort of space right there. Now, if you're a person who needs lots of hanging storage, this RV might be a problem for you because that's all you got. But this is, I think, intended to be more of a weekender couples camper. It is not necessarily intended to be something that you're doing some like extended living in. So that just was not a major priority here. And that was a 60 by 80 true queen bed, by the way. So although this ships with the RV industry default backbreaker death wafer mattress, it does have an easy ability to be upgraded. The gas struts in a more price sensitive, entry level kind of camper, that's also a nice little find. Now, a couple little things I kind of mentioned, but I didn't really demonstrate here. The high-rise faucet's kind of cool, but it's sort of black on black, so you may not have realized that it does still have the sprayer head. Again, at this budget, this little stuff is the kind of thing you don't always get, but you take for granted because you're used to that in your house. And if you're like, hey, that looked a little small, well, yeah, you can put a residential towel roll on there. It just, I don't know why it's telescopic. It just is. So, swinging our way around here. Oh, yeah, the air conditioner, by the way, it is centralized. So, you are getting air in the bathroom and the bedroom. And as silly as that sounds to talk about, I have seen, wait, I'm telling you, when you get in these entry-level campers, some brands build exclusively for a price point with zero consideration for how enjoyable the actual ownership experience of the RV will be. And I think Transcend does a good job of balancing those factors. It's a small detail, but the fact that the sofa has dedicated cup holders in the armrest, I appreciate that. You don't necessarily have to fold down the center console, because I would personally prefer to leave it up most of the time. My wife and I just purchased a new sofa for our house, and it sounds silly, but one of our must-haves was cup holders in the armrest. Now, someone's like, you could have just used a side stand. We have a cat, and cats are jerks, and I love him, and he wants to knock everything off of everything because that's a cat's job. So having a dedicated cup holder where he couldn't do that was kind of important to us. Now, first of all, it is a huge countertop space. It looks larger than it maybe necessarily is because they also outfit this with a fairly tiny sink. Now, I can get my hands in here enough to do what I have to do, but we do have some serious counter space over here, which is always handy. Now, you might notice it looks like, well, why did they waste this? That could have been a whole bunch of storage. That is your outside fridge and griddle. They are actually hiding that under that countertop space there. Now, in the Transcend Xplor series, we are a more basic toilet kind of situation right there. And you saw how there's plenty of, like, that is what I call fairly fluffy friendly. But as I stand up into the shower, you'll notice that a big chunk of my head magically disappears. One of the things here is, although it does have that true queen bed to give us, a more comfortable experience if you're taller like me, it does not have an extra tall ceiling. This is an industry standard 6.5 foot ceiling height. So what that means is that if you're a little over 6 foot like me and you stand up in the shower, your head gonna be in that bubble. No other way about it. Now, as mentioned before, in road mode, you're gonna lose the bedroom. I want to check the interaction of the fridge versus the countertop, because like this side is not going to fully open. This side will. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. Even though it doesn't fully open, I think that absolutely opens enough that we can very legitimately consider that travel accessible. The freezer is maybe a little horse of a different color. You're not going to get to much in there. You can get to the sink, you can get to the stove, you can get to the drawers. So you do have some snack-tastic access, although it's not nap-tastic. And as we spin our way around, we see that it also has easy crap-tastic access right from the entry door. That is a high-level technical term. And if you appreciate those little nuggets, I'm a child, I swear. I'm sorry. Now, again, there's some half-ton towing potential here, some very reasonable half-ton towing potential. It will depend a little bit on the capacities of your truck and where you plan to take it. Because a more modest half-ton, trying to tow this thing up mountains, you're not going to enjoy the experience. You're going to want to step that up a little bit. I feel like Matthew McConaughey, you got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie towing numbers, but you get the idea. They still, though, put really good awning space on this RV, given its overall size. And again, this is their most basic series. So like power stabilizers, auto leveling, that's just not in the cards for this one. That's not what this one does. They give you good awning space. They give you that nice power tongue jack to make life simple and easy. They do technically have outside speakers. And I'm not often a fan of those. I don't mind what they did here personally. First of all, the JBL system, I'm not telling you this is the top level residential system, but it looks like a single cycloptic speaker. It actually does have left-right elements all in one location, but it's closer down low to your campsite. It's also right over here next to your little convenience action center, which has the dad's medicine cabinet and the griddle. Now, the griddle top I have flipped upside down. I don't normally display them like that. When you want to slide that griddle top back, sometimes you need to flip it upside down to make things fit. So, I don't know. I've never really talked about that before. I thought I'd just throw that out there. We are prepped and ready for a rear view camera, for a roof access ladder. This does have a walkable snow load roof. And somebody yesterday in the comments asked me a great question. Like, I kind of fall into the habit sometimes of just saying words. And they said, hey, you say it has a walk-on snow load roof. Buddy, I'm 400 pounds. Is that going to hold me? And I had to think about how to answer that. And RV roof ladders are typically rated for 250 to 330 pounds. So I think my recommendation would be, if you fit within the weight limits of the roof access ladder, then that should be a walkable roof for you. Now, I don't know the manufacturer's stance on that, but that feels like something steeped in logic to me. And that might be a good, I'm not going to say guarantee or Bible, but guideline that you might be able to go by. Now, something I know some folks probably are not going to like on this one. Behind the rack and pinion slide out, you have your bathroom black and gray outlets. But when we slide up here in front of, he says with a pause, we see our kitchen gray outlet. So this RV actually is a two-headed sewer monster. Now, your belly's enclosed. Doesn't mean this has some magical Four Seasons force field around it. It means that if it gets, a little chilly at night, like if it gets right at freezing, maybe just below, as long as you're running the furnace, you're probably going to be okay till morning. If it's going to go 0 degrees for a really long time, she's not made for that. So please plan accordingly. Now, first of all, nice big large pass-through, but notice how they have that outdoor picnic table mounted against the top of that pass-through right there. Public picnic tables are handy, but sometimes they are gross, and sometimes it's really nice having your own solutions there. So there you go. Let me know what you think about her. I will, I almost forgot how to speak for a second there, which is normal for me. That's pretty on brand, actually. I'll leave you some links in the video description to double check pricing and availability. Drop me some notes. Let me know, positive and negative. What do you think about this thing? And until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.